Was Ben Johnson robbed of Coach of the Year? That's the thing that a lot of Bears fans are talking about. While I try to have a more level-headed, fair-mindedness about it, we're going to talk a little bit about that on today's episode. Joe Thuney brought home hardware back to Chicago. You love to see Chicago Bears get awards. And now Maxx Crosby trade rumors are doing nothing but heating up. Ryan polls even entertaining. We're going to break all that down, plus dive into the mailbag right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Eric Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And Ben Johnson did not win Coach of the Year. He did earn a nomination for Coach of the Year, but he did not win it, which has led a lot of Chicago Bears fans to ask, was he robbed of it? Mike Vrabel did end up winning the award, and I think when you look at it, it's just this simply put. Now, I know it's a regular season award and all that, but the freaking Patriots are in the Super Bowl. I get it, right? Like, let's keep in mind, I'm not saying that Mike Vrabel did everything great this season. Like, he made mistakes as well as did Ben Johnson at times, but when you have Drake May having the season that he had, when you have the Patriots making it to the Super Bowl, when you have all these things lining up, guess what? The Coach of the Year award's probably going to go to that guy, right? So, like I said in the intro, I try to have a level-headedness about it. It's just when it comes down to it. But the Patriots were 14-3. In the AFC this year, they went through the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. All those things are there. That's the reality of it. And that situation's there. Like, Ben Johnson's going to have other opportunities as Coach of the Year. And while I do think, like, in a lot of other years, would Ben Johnson have been Coach of the Year this year? Yeah, absolutely. I think he would have been. In a lot of other seasons, he might have been Coach of the Year. But this is the way the season worked out. This is the way that the cookie crumbled. Now, I do think there is some not keeping the same energy with how people doubted the Chicago Bears coming into the season, even internally from some of our own fans. How many people did I talk to or left comments saying, oh, the Bears, they're going to take a step back this year. It's clear with the rookie head coach, you're going to take a step back. 5 wins for the Bears. Bears end up completely killing those expectations. And I think more importantly than any hardware, the Bears got their guy, right? Like, that's the most important thing to take away from this. It is great when you see your guys acknowledged. It is great when your teams getting awards. All those things are great, right? But Vrabel also did an amazing job. And objectively, as a football fan, I can acknowledge that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like Ben Johnson was robbed. Did he have a legitimate case for Coach of the Year? Yeah. Yeah, if he would have won Coach of the Year, would there be people who are saying that Mike Vrabel was robbed? Absolutely. So, all those things are there. Now, it didn't happen. The Bears went 11-6 in the season. We had some disappointing losses in there. We started off the season with some disappointing losses. We had some disappointing mistakes, some that were on Ben Johnson. But all that said, listen, fuck the awards. What do we have? We have our coach here. That's the end all be all. We have a guy that came in here and has changed the culture. When you ask so many people about why they're optimistic about the Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson's going to be one of the things at the top of that list. And that's the thing that, as a Bears fan, puts me in the right mindset, that puts me in a place of being happy with this team. Because, listen, even the fact that we're having a conversation about that, it's all there. We're going to be fine. Ben Johnson's going to win awards. Ben Johnson's going to win, hopefully, a lot of games. The Bears are going to win a lot under Ben Johnson. All those things are hopeful. That's more important for me. So, was Ben Johnson snubbed, robbed, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, you can definitely make a case for that. When you look at what all the things that Ben Johnson had to do as far as changing the whole tone of an organization and a fan base. But hey, you don't win everything that you should have, and you don't always get the acknowledgement that you should have. But you know what? People are now starting to put some respect on the Chicago Bears name, and Ben Johnson is a big reason why of that, and that's what matters the most to me. That's what matters the most to me, is that my franchise is heading in the right direction. So whether he was snubbed, whether or not, it is what it is. But, I'm glad that even Bears fans are having this reaction that they're having on social media in regards to it. Some people think that Ben Johnson was disrespected in the votes when it came down to. He finished 4th overall with 145 votes. He received just one first-place vote, which was dead last among everybody in there. Now, that is where I feel like some disrespect is coming in at. Dead last? He was dead last in first-place votes? All right, cool. What you've given is just one of the most motivated coaches in the game of football that wants to see his team be great, that wants to be great himself. You just gave him bulletin board material, and take that for what you will. So let's see what we do with that. That is the important thing. Listen, doubt Ben Johnson. Listen, the Chicago Bears fans are used to being doubted. The Chicago Bears organization is used to being doubted. Ben Johnson is a prideful, strong-willed motherfucker who just wants to be great. You just gave him something to motivate him even further. Hey, get ready, league. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But we did have a Chicago Bear that did bring home some hardware for the franchise, and that's Joe Thuney winning Protector of the Year award, the first ever Protector of the Year award. No matter what happens with this award, they can never take away that a Chicago Bear is the first person to win this award. Keep in mind, Joe Thuney, we acquired him for a 4th-round pick last year. He was part of a complete overhaul of the offensive line. Jonah Jackson coming into this offensive line. Drew Dahlman we signed as a center. With Darnell Wright, Ozzie Trapillo eventually took over that role, more in the left tackle role here in a second. And when you look at what Joe Thuney did and how he was part of anchoring this offensive line that had one of the best rushing attacks in football, a large part of that was because of the offensive line. He played in all 17 games. He allowed 0 sacks, only 1 QB hit, and 15 pressure, and he only got penalized twice the entirety of it. He played 1,149 snaps, the second of any guard in the NFL. He earned that. And for what it's worth, Joe Thuney, after winning the award, said this: "It's just incredible. I'm very humbled to even be mentioned among guys that are on the ballot and people that are voting. So very humbling and such an honor. I'm very thankful, but I'm not a one-man operation. There are so many people behind the scenes, parents, family, friends, teammates, coaches, everyone in the building. So it's just a big operation, and I am very thankful." Joe Thuney. Shout out to Joe Thuney, man, and what he's been able to do, being a part of that offensive line overhaul, like I said at the start there, has been so important to what the Bears are now building here and the confidence that we have and what we're going to be able to do offensively. You know, it's been great. The Joe Thuney's lived up to every bit of the hype that we had and every bit of the hope that we had with him coming in here specifically. Those numbers that I just told you, those just aren't good numbers. Those just aren't great numbers. Those are elite numbers that Joe Thuney and what he's been able to do at the offensive line. And I'm glad that the NFL also is doing something to acknowledge the offensive line, because they do go so, like, for years, decades, like the entirety of the history of football, offensive linemen have been, the least heralded people, and they do some of the hardest work. So much starts on the offensive line. And for some of the more casual, football fans, I don't know if they ever really understand everything that happens, everything that has to go into an offensive line being solid and being good and being consistent, right? And having the people that you have there, all that stuff is there. And so, listen, shout out to Joe Thuney. Shout out to the offensive line, Dan Rouchard, and what he's been able to do here as well with that offensive line coach. The work's not done. And that's been the message that I've kept with everything for the Chicago Bears. The work's not done. Let's go in here. Let's build off of it. Let's take it a step further. And one of those players that are going to help take it a step further is the Chicago Bears locked in Theo Benedet to a 1-year, $1 million deal, according to The Athletic. Now, I'll say this. I'm going to say that this is a bit of a risk for the Chicago Bears, not in the sense of Theo's performance. I think Theo's good. I think he's really good. I don't know if he'll ever be great, but I think Theo Benedet is a really good offensive tackle. But only signing him to a 1-year deal, and especially when Ozzie Trapillo's probably not going to be healthy to start the season, which means Theo Benedet has a great chance to start at the start of the season, it could get very expensive if they do even want a chance to keep him. And they had an opportunity because of the season to maybe lock him in. Now, maybe him and his agent didn't want to take the long-term deal, right? We don't know about that part. There could be something to where his agent said, hey, this is a great opportunity for you. We'll take a 1-year deal. You'll have a chance to start off at the beginning of the season, maybe for over half the season with Ozzie Trapillo's injury, and then we can get you more money because we think you're going to have a big year there. So, maybe it's a bit of him, betting on himself as well for only taking the 1-year deal. But that 1-year, $1 million deal, I tell you what, if he performs well, like we saw flashes of, which I never think Theo Benedet was just absolutely terrible. There were some games where he didn't look good, right? There were some games where he may have been the weak link on some plays or a handful of plays, but I don't think there was ever a game where I'm just like, Theo Benedet looked absolutely terrible tonight. And so let's build off of that. Keep in mind, he took over the starter in week 4 against the Las Vegas Raiders. He started the next 6 games before he had an injury as well. Ozzie Trapillo took over, and then it never looked back as well. But with Ozzie Trapillo down after suffering that ruptured patella tendon, he may miss the majority of next year. So with that, you lock in Theo Benedet, who took over the starting role from that. And then you already know the chemistry he has with Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright, and what they are able to do because they were pretty formidable too as an offensive line. So shout out to Theo Benedet for getting his money. Now we just got to see what the next step's going to be for him and what he can do. Like I said, a little bit of a risk here for the Bears because if he performs really good next season, you may not be able to afford to keep him. We'll see what happens there. But with that said, there's some news from Maxx Crosby in regards to it that, of course, Bears fans want me to talk about. We're going to get into this quote first from Ryan Poles and what he said about building a roster. He said this: I think you see it across the league all the time. You panic and you want to do crazy things that everybody else wants you to do, and it leads to some situations you can't get out of. We want to stay flexible. We want to stay open-minded. We want to stay committed to building this team the right way because I think that's the best way to sustain success. We're always going to be optimistic. We're always going to go through opportunities to pop through and talk through them. Is it best for us short term? Is it best for us long term? And then we move from there. Now, with that said, this one is coming from Fox Sports' Jake Glazier in regards to where he talks about Maxx Crosby and his time with the Raiders and basically saying that it's done. Saying that it's done. Now, they did say what would it take to get Maxx Crosby, and Jake Glazier did say it's probably going to be more than Micah Parsons. So that's the question, right? When you look at it, the Green Bay Packers traded 2 first-round picks and a 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle in Kenny Clark to get Micah Parsons. And so if that trade package for Maxx Crosby takes more than that, what would it take to get Maxx Crosby? And that's the cost on reward here. 2 first-round picks and a player, that's a lot, right? That's a lot for a team. And you got to ask, because I know many people are going to say, well, that player could be DJ Moore. And maybe they'd be willing to take that, right? The 2 first-round picks could definitely hurt because I'll always look at it as this. You can start trading first-round picks when that move that you need is the last move that you have to make to get yourself to being a true championship contender. And that's going to be what Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, and that's going to be the question that they have to ask themselves, right? Is this team an elite pass rusher away from being a true Super Bowl contender? And if they feel that the answer is yes, then maybe they'll go out there and get that done, right? And that's the question that you have to ask there. So we'll see. But for what it's worth, Ryan Poles is hit on first. Darnell Wright, a hit in 2023. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, hits in 2024. Colston Leveland was a hit in 2025. So now how you approach this draft and how you approach this stance is going to mean everything for it. So if the Bears are going to go after Maxx Crosby, they have to make sure that if that asking price is those 2 first-round picks, you better be damn well sure that you are going to be a Super Bowl contender in doing that, because that is a lot to mortgage up for a player. It's just simply put. We know what he can do when he's on the football field, both in run grade and his run defensive grade and his pass rush grade are all great, right? When you look at what he did, 224 tackles, great, right? Forced fumbles, 7, 18 batted passes, 50, like what he's been able to do from 2021 to 2025 has been elite in what he's been able to do. 59 sacks in that time, 390 QB pressures. That's what he's been able to do, right? So when you look at that, that's huge for a guy like Maxx Crosby. Now we got to see what he's going to be able to bring. And so, if the Bears decide to make that move, that's an all-in move. And we got to see what that results in. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the mailbag for today. We only got 3 voicemails. Y'all starting to get a little lazy in the offseason. Leave those voicemails. But we got 3 voicemails to get into. This first one, this one's from Ant.
Yo, what up, fellas? It's Ant, the Army vet, calling in today about Declan Doyle getting hired and Ian Cunningham getting hired. I'm going to start off with Ian Cunningham. Props to that man for doing what he did and what he needed to get that job. I'm pissed off about these picks, though. I ain't going to even hold you. Because regardless if he's making, like, the final decision, Matt Ryan came out and said he's not doing none of the GM stuff. So Ian Cunningham is still going to be making those decisions. He's still going to be building this team. It's just Matt Ryan, the last say-so. That's the same thing with Kevin Warren, you know what I mean, being the CEO of the Bears. Like, Ryan Poles got to report to him for the final say-so. It's the same concept, if you ask me. And I think we should have got those third-round picks. But big props and big ups to Ian Cunningham for getting that promotion. He's going to do some good things in the NFC South. I expect the Falcons to be in a mix like the Panthers was this year. Not next coming season, but season after that, I feel like he's going to be in that mix. And he about to straighten out that Kirk Cousins contract. He about to straighten that out real quick. I promise. I know he about to, because Ryan Poles done taught him, show him how to get that, you know what I'm saying, get them contracts going and revamp the money and roster and how to do it, you know what I'm saying, and he helped that way. So, and then on Declan Doyle, I mean, it's cool that he got that job. I'm happy for that man. He's young. He doing his thing. I'm upset about it only for one reason, because now we about to have another OC for Caleb Williams in his third season. This is about to be, 5, 6 OCs in 2, 3 years? My man's is having that's a lot on a young player. He haven't, I get it, he got Ben Johnson in the system, but at the same time the OC did things that Ben Johnson wasn't doing, and in the meeting rooms and, you know what I'm saying, helping Caleb, like Ben Johnson wasn't doing a lot of that stuff. Declan Doyle was doing that. So it sucks that, you know what I'm saying, Caleb about to have, like I said, 5th or 6th OC in 3 years, but he gonna be a pro, he gonna get it done. I just hate it for him. You know what I'm saying? We need some kind of stability. I think the next hire that Ben Johnson do should be somebody that ain't going to leave no time soon. I hope he call up Antoine Randall to be the OC, because he's already the assistant head coach. So this way the next job he has to get is a head coaching job. Like, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't be mad at that. So it just sucks for Caleb, but like I said, congrats to both of those guys. They did what they needed to, and still looking out for Ben and Ryan Poles not blocking either one of those, because they technically could, because one is a lateral and the other is a quote-unquote promotion, but they said the Bears could have blocked it. So big ups for them not doing that, showing that leadership. It makes guys want to come here and work for us. But that's all I got. We know your thoughts, like always. Shout down up.
Losing Ian Cunningham and Declan Doyle, it sucks, right? Especially losing Ian Cunningham and not getting those picks. It just, frankly, it sucks. And I know that's not the best analysis word to use on it, but frankly, it sucks. It's the reality of it. It absolutely sucks. But at the end of the day, that's what comes with having a franchise. That's what comes with having a franchise that's looking like they're moving in the right direction. Us not getting those compensatory picks, all right, cool. We can't really complain too much about what we never had. It does suck, and I do think the NFL should step in and give us that, especially when Matt Ryan comes out in an interview and says, oh, yeah, it's all going to be on Ian Cunningham. Like, what the hell do you mean? He's saying that he's going to be the decision maker. Give us the damn picks. But outside of that, right, we got to move forward as a franchise, and we got to continue to go down this path and this direction of establishing who and what we want to be. And that's the most important thing. You just got to take your lumps and move on from them. Just like you got to take your losses and move on from them. That's it. That's all you can do. And you just got to push forward the best that you can. And that's it. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Milton.
Yo, Chicago Bears Central, them Cognac boys. What it do is Milton the Dark Knight calling in again on this beautiful Tuesday. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Just saw a report online that the league is giving out the salary cap for this forthcoming year in 2026. Based on the numbers that they're giving out, is between $301 million to, I think, about $308 million per club, give or take a million. But I just wanted to know how much money does the Chicago Bears actually have in general? Because a lot has been like we're over the salary cap and this and the third. We don't have that much to leverage with. So with that being said, with the league coming out with that news, do y'all have a specific number of how much of the salary cap that we have so far? Also, I saw like the threads. I think it was like on X or Instagram that Maxx Crosby will be elated to come and play for the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams will welcome that, because they were both giving each other props and respect on each other's pages and everything. And it was that's really something. They respect each other. My thing is with the Maxx Crosby situation, I'm kind of like how you are, Hayes. I think you're like from finance. You got a degree in finance and everything. I'm looking at it more long term, because we've gotten free agents here before, trying to pay out money and mortgaging up our draft capital, and it ended up the disastrous results, or they're leaving, and we just give out big money to these free agents. It's not to diss Maxx Crosby or anybody. I'm just also just read somewhere online that the Bears really do need to be careful about the money that they do give out to a lot of these free agents, because of course Grady Jarrett, Dio, and some of the other free agents that we've had here this past season and years past haven't panned out over the duration of their contract. And especially because we still got so many glaring holes on our roster that's what I'm more worried about, how we're going to use the draft picks. And I understand, yeah, we need to get the pass rush. I get all that. But we still there's so many glaring holes. To me, it would be unwise for them. Oh, yeah, let's go all in for Maxx Crosby because we're going to compete now, but we have We got to get a pass rush, safety, and all these other stuff, and we still got guys on this roster that play decent that we need to consider bringing back. But that's just my look on it. I would really love to hear what y'all got to say about that. Maybe you have to clarify me on how much we actually do have. If y'all got any more information on the salary cap. But anyway, hope y'all have a good day. Chicago up, Bears down. FGB, let's do the damn thing. I'll holler at y'all on the next one.
What is the Bears salary cap situation? So you've probably heard a lot of people talk about the Bears salary cap situation and us being $4.3 million over the salary cap. We're actually more than that if you want to look at it. When you include the allocations for the draft picks that we have. So our first, second, and third round picks plus rounds 5 and 2 round 7 picks. When you look at that and what the Chicago Bears have, that's another $10 million, right? So keep that in mind. So the Bears are actually about $14 million above the salary cap. So we have negative, last I checked, it was negative 13.4 salary cap space is the way that it all worked out. So that means that while we've talked a lot about just being 4.3 million over, you still got to make spots for your draft picks. Now, the Bears could move off some of those draft picks. They can move them to trade some players, and it may not be that, but that's where the Bears salary cap situation is. So when we talked about it's the tight and the needle that the Bears need to thread there, it's a very tight needle, tight window that they have to do. That's why like the acquisition of like a Maxx Crosby and things like that, it gets so expensive for the Bears. So they're going to have to try to figure out a way. And that's why I said that the Ryan Poles is going to have to cook this offseason, just period, point blank. They're going to have to cook this offseason. And we don't have a lot of dead money, only $542,000 of dead money. So it's not like it's a lot of dead money for the Bears. They just got to figure out a way. Ryan Poles has done a good job of keeping the cap sheet clean, and we got to see if he can do it again. All right, let's get into this last voicemail that we got for today, man. This one's from Darius.
What's going on, guys? Darius from Dallas, man. I just wanted to call in and talk about the couple episodes back where you were talking about the running back room. I kind of feel with Swift, it's the same thing with DJ, where I'm not denying the talent there, but bro, you make $8 million a year, and although you had a good season, hey, I don't doubt that a second round pick could come in there and not only replace his production, but maybe be even better for a lot less money. So it's about cost effect. Man, you're an accountant, man. You know how that goes. It's talking about cost here, But I think that people are when we're talking about the draft, people are kind of falling back into the same thing that we always do at Ryan Poles, and we think, oh, he's got to be going for a defensive lineman. No. Poles is going to pick whoever the best player available is, and he's proven that every year. He don't give a damn about what we think. He's going to pick the best player available. So what if a Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame is still sitting there at 25, the best back in the draft? I know Poles and Ben Johnson might look at that and go, hey, are we going to take the best, running back right off the board, or are we going to take the third or fourth best defensive tackle? I just don't think Poles makes decisions that way. And rightfully so. I love a guy that's going to go best player available. But I can't see him reaching, in the draft. And I know we got a lot of good defensive linemen in this draft. So I wouldn't be surprised, if we do make that reach. But just keep in mind, man, Poles don't really go best player. What we need needs all the time, man. So I wonder what you think about that. What if a top of the line running back is still sitting there? Or, what if the second best wide receiver is still sitting there? I think that could be an option, man. As far as in the draft, as far as the defensive line, we got to address these needs in the off season. And, the only way to do that is to cut some guys. But yeah, I'm pretty curious about that, man. I really think that the running back position can improve and be even better, as great as we were this past season, particularly if we see a guy, that we weren't expecting to fall there. And I think that can take our offense even to another level, if it can even get better than what it is. We're getting able to, control the clock a little bit more. That's the only thing I wish Ben Johnson would have did a little bit better. Because I get it, we got a hell of a passing game, but man, in those games where you're going against other good offenses like the Rams, I really want to just run that clock out. And I want to, keep the ball from them. So let me know what y'all think. Text us up there now.
I do think Poles takes the best player available at a position of need sometimes, right? I think that's kind of the methodology he goes into it with, planning with. But you're right. I don't think that if Ryan Poles sees a player, regardless of what their position is, and he think that player is a can't-miss prospect or somebody that they absolutely need on the team, guess what? He's going to take that player regardless of how it looks on paper. I mean, you could look at his first draft with Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. Everybody talked about the Bears needing a wide receiver. He didn't go that way, right? So it really is determined by, I think, how he views the talent that's on the board, and also he does factor in a little bit of the needs of the team, both short-term and long-term. See, that's the difference. Ryan Poles would look and say, yeah, we got DeAndre Swift under contract this year, but hell, I mean, he's not under contract next year. So we may need, if we see a running back prospect there, let's go ahead and get him, to your point, right? So I think all those things play into the methodology that Ryan Poles has at the draft, and I think it's the right one to have more times than not, personally. So we'll see what Ryan Poles does. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Chicago Bears Central. You guys might have noticed that Steve-O dropped a video last night, and we're back to nightlies now, dailies and nightlies here at Chicago Bears Central. So what we're doing is a series where each one of us, all 5 of us on the panel, 6 because Mike's going to be involved too, we're going to drop a solo video discussing what we want to see from the Chicago Bears this offseason. So stay tuned, stay locked in for that one. But this offseason is about discipline. You don't panic, you don't overpay, and you don't mortgage your future unless it's truly a championship move. Ryan Poles has shown that he believes in building things the right way here in Chicago, and Ben Johnson has this team trending up. If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. You guys can follow us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up or Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.